It's not every day that you find unexploded ordnance in your local park, but for the DePace family 8 years ago, a simple walk in the park turned into the discovery of a lifetime. The story begins in the summer of 2016, when Laura DePace, then a high school student, was visiting Brandywine Creek State Park in Wilmington, Delaware with her friends the Davis brothers, when they discovered something interesting. I talked with Laura's brother, William, and her father, Bill, to find out more about this find.
So what happened was my sister Laura was invited by the Davis brothers and to the creek, which is behind us down the valley, and she was invited to go tubing down the river. And I don't know if it was the beginning, the middle of the trip, or at the end, but eventually I don't know which, but I believe it was Johnny or Peter. I don't know which one. But they found the shell just in like the mud and the rocks, and he pulled it up and he picked it up and they just took it with them. I believe it was at the end.
Bill recalls his first reaction to the shell with one of the Davis brothers.
Well, a conversation prior, I had asked him to send me pictures so that I could investigate it for him because he was interested in knowing what it was, and he was asking me as a teacher if I knew what it was. So I said, send me some pictures and I'll investigate it. Well, then one night after youth group, it showed up in our car at our house. And I was like, oh no, why did this thing come home?
It was kind of like a wait, what? You found what in the creek? That's something you don't find every day, especially here in Delaware, where really nothing like that ever happens, really. But it was very surprising, and it was like kind of a cool find and stuff. It looked harmless because it was rusted and stuff, but we did know that it still could be active. My dad went on some site and he posted about the ammunition cell and he asked people to ask him for advice, and then eventually it finally came to the point where we had to get rid of it when somebody told him that kind of bob could have some tasty stuff in it, which means in military terms, it's gonna kill you, big boy.
One of the guys said, yeah, it could be live and it could have some nasty stuff inside of it. So they were very concerned, get rid of it immediately as soon as you can. Once I determined that the projectile was possibly dangerous, I said, I got to get it out of my house as quickly as possible. So I moved it to the farthest location I could, pretty much on my property, that would still be within an enclosure. So I brought it out to the shed here and wrapped it in a towel soaked with water so it would stay cool. And I just laid it right here in the shed. Called the state police, and they came and he didn't know what to do with it. He called, I think, his sergeant or somebody, and he knew that it was beyond what they could determine. So they then called for the Air Force bomb squad to come out. And they went and looked at it, and after they looked at it, they immediately evacuated our family and a whole bunch of people on our block and the block behind us.
Finding unexploded ordnance and experiencing a neighborhood-wide evacuation was certainly a memorable experience. Bill has some words of wisdom for the next time you encounter an artillery show on your evening stroll.
Don't ever pick up anything that looks like it could be a grenade or a explosive. Just immediately call the police, which that's what the boys who found it should have done immediately, instead of bringing it to my house, which I was not too happy about. And yes, some people, the president of our neighborhood, he sent out a big email explaining everything that happened so that people weren't concerned because there was all kinds of rumors going on.
For our family, it's just something that's brought up at a holiday reunion or just a family get-together. It's hey, do you remember when the Davis brothers found the ammunition shell and the whole neighborhood got to be evacuated because they brought it over to our house? It's yeah, something like that. For our neighbors, it's just they probably forgot about it. Maybe it might be brought up once in the blue moon. maybe, but pretty much it's a forgotten incident that happened in our neighborhood.
Most people would feel fear or panic during such an ordeal, but not William.
I wasn't scared at all. I was more excited to see the police people because I really liked police back in the day. I still do. The day when they were going to send that police officer in, which was the day before they evacuated our neighborhood, maybe I was kind of feeling a little nervous, but mostly no. It was pretty much just like a cool incident.
When the bomb came to my house, I was definitely, definitely concerned. I didn't want it here, but I couldn't just go dump it somewhere, so I had to get rid of it properly. So that's when I got the police involved. So yeah, it was a little bit scary, especially when the Air Force came and they were dressed in all kinds of like bomb gear, to protect them, and they had the radar, and then they loaded it into a special like device, and they had like a trailer that was like ironclad so that if it did blow up, it wouldn't hurt anybody. And then they had a police escort to take it down to a site near the C&D Canal where they were going to try to blow it up just to get rid of it.
Ideally, the shell would have immediately been returned, right?
Yeah, I probably would have gotten rid of it immediately, but the boys had already returned to New Jersey where they lived, so it was I didn't want to transport it in my vehicle, so it got stuck here.
Having a decades-old projectile sitting in your shed definitely causes some stress. William and Bill reveal the people who helped them the most during this ordeal.
The police and the Davis brothers, I believe, gave us the most assistance because the Davis brothers actually, they transported, and when they transported, they actually got, somewhat of a convoy to protect the bomb because the bomb was actually in the back of a car, and they had, their own two separate cars, so they would have one car here, the car with the ammunition here, and then another car, here. So they transported a convoy, and they were very, very safe when transporting it.
I say it was the TreasureNet site on the internet that helped me to determine that this could be dangerous and you need to get rid of it properly through the proper authorities.
Thus ends the story of the shell, found in a river, stored in a shed, and taken away by the bomb squad. But the shell incident still leaves questions unanswered. As in the words of William DePace,
it brings another question to my mind. What else is in this creek? Now, all you're probably wondering, but William, you've been talking about all this gibberish history, but the one thing I want to know is, what does the Brandywine Creek look like? All right, Carissa, calm down. Man, so impatient. Jacob, this generation of ours, it's, just gives me nightmares. Come on, Jacob. Let's go. We're going down to the creek, Carissa. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now almost to the creek. So when we get there, we're going to show you what the Davis brothers would have seen when they would have found the ammunition or the bomb. We have to do that again because you... Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost to the creek. So at this point, we're going to show you what the Davis brothers would have seen when they would have found the ammunition or, to us, the bomb. Let's go. So they're probably just floating down the river. It was either when they were floating down or when they got out, but they probably, so we're gonna explain two theories of mine how they found it. Theory one is they're probably just floating down the river and they saw something and they stopped and they went and picked it up and they were like, yo, look what we found. We found this ginormous ammo shell. But my belief is, and the second theory was that they were getting out or stopping and then they just stumbled upon it. So that's why I believe what happened.